Hey, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, here at Black Hollywood Live for an edition of the Avengers Endgame at BHL. $1.2 billion worth of it, baby. Stay right there.
You're tuned into Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Tune in right now.
It's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, here for episode 57 of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata here at Black Hollywood Live, and it is all things Avenger, all 21 films of it over a course of 10 to 11 years, and my special guest to break it all down with me is Miss Wendy Lee.
Ooh, what an intro, girl.
Yes, girl, because you are the foremost authority on all things Avenger.
You are
MCU.
too much. You are too much, but thank you.
You are too much.
I am excited to talk about this, though. This is we got a lot to unpack in this one, huh?
But before we get to that, let's tell the listeners who you are and how you came to the world of film criticism so that folk know who you are and where to find you and all that good stuff.
Awesome. Well, I am Wendy Lee, other known as Wendy Lee Szany. I do work at Collider. I'm a coordinator there. I pop up in their videos. I am with the LAOFCS. That's how I met the amazing Miss Carla. And I also have a YouTube channel with my husband called The Movie Couple, and we talk about movies, TV shows, trailers, and we also eat a lot.
I guess you do, because y'all are watching movies and eating all kinds of stuff. What's your favorite thing to eat when y'all are watching?
Probably we're boring, like popcorn. No, we do a nice, like, meat and cheese platter.
Ooh.
We do it. I was thinking about doing fondue tonight later for GOT, but it's too much. I don't have time today.
You like, that's way too many things going on. So, because we're going to talk about Avengers, I made a little map for Wendy and I. But before we get into that, let me just acknowledge that today is National Superhero Day. Woo!
Is it an official thing?
It is an official thing. It is National Superhero Day. So I planned this right on time to talk about all things Avengers. What?
I didn't know about that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Girl, you know I had to do my research and work it out.
Of course.
And before we get into the discussion about Avengers, I just wanted to give a shout out to Mr. John Singleton. I interviewed him over the summer at the Los Angeles County Public Library, and he talked about all of his films, and they were doing an anniversary screening of Boys in the Hood.
Oh, wow.
And so it was nice to watch it on a big screen with an audience, because I hadn't done that in a while, and to hear all his stories about how it was cast and everything like that. But Mr. Singleton went into the hospital Easter Sunday for some pain that he was having, and it turned out that he ended up having a stroke while he was in the hospital, and he's now in a coma. So I just want to wish Mr. John Singleton a speedy recovery, good wishes, hope that he comes out of that coma soon, and more well wishes and prayers for his family and his friends. Cool. Now, to bring it back up, I brought it all the way down. Let's get started with this Avengers situation. Before we start talking about Endgame, let's talk about Iron Man.
Okay.
Because Iron Man, first let me just talk about the fact that I have the biggest celebrity crush on Robert Downey Jr.
Do you?
I do. And I don't know why.
Because he's Robert Downey Jr.
You know what it was? I think he did a movie a long time ago called Chaplin. Mm-hmm. And I think I kind of fell in love with him.
Like Charlie Chaplin?
Yeah, he did a movie about Charlie Chaplin. He was nominated for an Oscar for that performance, playing Charlie Chaplin. And I think ever since then, I've had like a mad crush on him. Whenever I see him on TV, my heart just goes a little pitter-patter. It's kind of crazy.
And especially now, he just kind of walks in the room and just like, doesn't even try. He doesn't even need to try, right? He just got the swagger, this charm.
He doesn't have to.
Very magnetic, and like, I don't even think I would know how to talk to him, to be honest with you.
He doesn't have to. Like, he's Iron Man. Like what is he going to say? He's Iron Man. What can we do? I mean, he is Iron Man. But I just am like, I love me some Robert Downey Jr. That is my boy.
Yeah. And he started it all.
He did. He started it all. And let's just say that every single one of these movies that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has put out, every last single one of them has shattered and broken box office records every single time. And Avengers Endgame is no different. It has grossed $1.2 billion globally. It has shattered box office records all over the world. China, the United States, you name it, it has shattered it.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, yet very well deserved, and at the same time, like, you don't hear about movies, franchises doing something like this.
No, you don't.
But it's also no other franchise have been going for 22 movies, 10 years, such as the Avengers, you know?
No.
So this is, I mean, I am so happy for them. I'm happy for everybody working on the project, on and behind the camera. It's fantastic.
It really is. Let me give a shout out as well to the people in the chat room who always support me, and a new one. Hey, Yasna and Michael B and Mr. Randy Constance, how y'all doing? And they said hello, Wendy.
Hi.
So, after we talked about Iron Man briefly, well, actually, I more or less just talked about Robert Downey Jr. because I just kind of love Robert Downey Jr. That is my boy. After they did the Iron Man 1 and 2, then they came out with the Incredible Hulk. And I'm not going to lie. When they came out with the Incredible Hulk, I was like, how they going to, Because I remember how crazy and cheesy it looked when it was on TV. And it was a TV series that starred Bill Bixby. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know how this is going to work in a movie.
You know what's funny? I didn't mind the TV series. I like watched that when I was little. I was fascinated. I was fascinated by all of it. But the movie, they've done two. They've done the one with Eric Bana, and then they did the one, with Edward Norton. Not a fan of either. They're not horrible, okay? I'm just not a fan of them. So, like, when I do my rewatch for MCU, those, unfortunately, are the ones that I skip over.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, no shade toward Mark Ruffalo.
He's the best Hulk, in my opinion.
It's not my favorite of the franchise. I'm not gonna lie.
But we haven't had a Mark Ruffalo standalone Hulk.
And we won't. I don't need to see that. Do you need to see that?
Yeah. Now. Yeah.
I don't need to see that.
I need
can
to
live
see
without
it.
that.
Because I want to. I feel. I mean, he has kind of been like in the forefront for the last few films. Like, he
has.
In Thor
He's kinda
Ragnarok.
funny.
Yeah. No, I really like his portrayal.
And what's
of the
really
Hulk.
interesting about Mark Ruffalo is that the whole time they were doing the press tour for Avengers Endgame, everybody joked about the fact that he cannot hold water. He is so not the one to keep a secret.
Oh no, him and Tom Holland are awful. Awful at keeping secrets. They have to put a chaperone. They put who is it? Benedict Cumberbatch with Tom Holland, and they have to like watch him. They're like, okay, we're ready to go to commercial. If this kid or if Mark Ruffalo just happens to spill all these secrets.
My microphone is betraying me today. Okay, let's fix it.
Righty tighty.
There we go.
Lefty
Because that girl was like, I was looking like I had a purple clown nose. I'm like, what is going on? So people in the chat room that are your fans, Wendy
hi.
from Collider. Hey, Jenna James, what's up, girl? She said hello to us. Mr. Goodwine TV said hello. And Craig Harris is like, what's up? James Burrows is up in the house, too. So, yeah, they all came here to see you.
Oh, thanks, guys.
It's a fantabulous thing.
I want to kind of throw it back to Iron Man because I remember when I heard of this and I thought, whew, what? Because I knew comics, but my knowledge was not the I was more on the DC side. I was more like Batman, that's
Wonder
nice.
Woman
yeah,
and all
Wonder
that.
Woman stood like the trio, right? I was like, yeah. And then they come in with this Iron Man. I was like, who's this?
I knew who Iron Man was, and I was all for it. And then, of course, when I found out Robert Downey Jr. was playing, I'm like, please.
And that's what did it for me. It was that because he was going to be Iron Man, I was like, okay, I would check it out because I like him. And after that, I was like, what is this? I'm hooked. And then they kept on coming out with more. I was like, oh, this is a thing? This is a thing.
I know. I was there for every single Iron Man movie that they ever made. I was like, yes, I'm here for all of that. All of that. What I wasn't there for so much were those Captain America and Thor joints, though.
Yeah? Not even the first ones? I thought the first Captain America was solid. It was solid. It was a good origin story.
Story, but
and that's what it was. Yeah?
Yeah, I wasn't there for it. I didn't like. I don't know. I think because Robert Downey Jr. wasn't in it. That's why. But
he can't be in everything.
I know. I want him to be in all of them. But I liked Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Like I didn't like the original Thor, but I loved Thor Ragnarok.
I think most people did.
Like if I had to choose between the two, Thor Ragnarok was my jam.
You're just gonna ignore them.
I'm just gonna ignore Captain America because I was like, I like Chris Evans.
Yes.
Like I really kind of fell in love. Like he's like neck and neck with my celebrity crush with Robert Downey Jr. after he helped Regina King up onto the stage when she won her Oscar. Because everybody was sitting there watching her struggle with her train, and he was the only person that got up to help her.
Yep.
And like it was like
real life hero.
It was like Prince Charming helping Cinderella to the ball, honey. I said, yes, Chris Evans, you better work. I was so excited. But yeah.
But so next time you're at an award show with Chris Evans, just fumble a little bit with your trying.
Oh, girl, look, if Chris Evans is anywhere in my vicinity, I will trip and fall somewhere. I will do a pratfall for your essentials.
Please tell me so I can be there.
Oh, girl, I will
document it for you.
I'll be like, boom, down for the count. It would be so funny. I cannot wait. And that all of that brings us to the Avengers. Now, I was down for the Avengers because I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert. I believe that by the time the first Avengers came out, was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on television yet?
You know what? I don't remember, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
Let's
see what they say in the chat room.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but we might
because
get some
I
help.
also didn't really catch up into into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. until like season 2 or 3, so I was late on that.
Yeah, Jenna says she agrees that the first Cap was solid, but but y'all know she do prefer it over Thor 1. Mm-hmm. And then who else? And then Yasna says she's a favorite of Thor 1. And then Jenna says, speaking of Batman news, on the rumor mill is they may have a casting choice this coming week for Reeves' Batman. Ooh. Nice.
Ooh.
Nice. And then Michael B's like, yeah, the first Cap was okay. Yeah, I feel you, Michael B.
Yeah, it's a solid origin story. You know, I can't pick it apart because I think movies like that for people who don't know comics and who don't know Captain America, I think was good.
Yeah, I agree.
Good, solid movie. But that Avengers movie, though.
But baby, when that Avengers movie came out, that first one, I was there for all of that, mostly because it brought in my girl Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
And up until that point, I had not seen any female superheroes on the horizon. Mm-hmm. Had not seen it because Wonder Woman hadn't come out yet.
Right.
None of that stuff.
We only had
happened.
like the TV show.
We only had the TV show of Wonder Woman. We didn't have Wonder Woman in a motion picture situation yet. So I was there for all of that. I was like, yes, there's a girl. Woohoo! Yay!
The best part was the opening scene with her when she was strapped to the chair, and I thought, I know she's real deadly because we've seen in Iron Man 2. So are they gonna make her be rescued by other superheroes when I know fully she is capable to handle
herself? And she handled it.
It's like one of my favorite scenes. I rewind it and I watch it all the time.
She handled that. I was like, yes, Scarlett Johansson, you do that. So then, now that the Avengers have come in and they have interrupted the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let's pause here for a minute and give homage to Stan Lee, who we lost. And honestly, I don't know what the Marvel Cinematic Universe would have been without him.
Yeah.
I really don't. Because he straight up shepherded and maneuvered the studios to make all of these films come to fruition. And I think had he not been here, they probably would have come to fruition, but they wouldn't have been as classy.
Correct.
They wouldn't have been as interesting. They wouldn't have broken as many box office records as they did had it not been for the way he assisted in making sure that those stories were told correctly, because he wrote them and he
wrote
created them.
Yeah,
you know
he wrote them and created them. He wanted to make sure it was seen in you. I mean, you perfect example of everything you just said. And I think a lot of people, the lesser known comic book fans would say like, oh, when they see Stan Lee. I mean, now it's different, but back then it's like they would associate maybe Stan Lee with Spider-Man solely. And I love that he is so involved that all these heroes were introduced correctly because of him. And
Absolutely.
all the cameos too.
Absolutely. I love the
I love
cameos.
all the cameos.
I love when filmmakers, excuse me, or creators put themselves in the film. Like when I watch those old Alfred Hitchcock movies, he puts himself in his films, and so does and Jordan Peele puts himself in his. I love when filmmakers put themselves in the film because it gives you something to look for Easter egg wise, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Michael B said that. Was it Michael B that said that? Yeah, they said that the S.H.I.E.L.D. was on. S.H.I.E.L.D. was on the air. I kind of thought that it was, but I wasn't sure.
I was a late bloomer to S.H.I.E.L.D.
I wasn't sure. Oh, Michael B has a good question for you. How many cameos did Stan Lee do before he died?
Well, there are 22 MCU movies, so we can say 22. We can start at 22, but then there was also the same Raimi Spider-Man, so maybe 26.
See, and that is why Wendy Lee is here, y'all.
Maybe.
That's why she here, because she know, and I don't.
Somebody look it up and tell me if I'm probably wrong. But
Somebody look it up and let Miss Wendy Lee know.
I think 26.
Jenna said, I think Far From Home will be his last.
I heard that this one was his last cameo.
Yeah?
Yeah, I heard that. But, I mean, have no problem with Stan Lee being in.
Look, I don't have no problem with him being in anything.
Exactly.
Spider-Man, you think he might pop up in Spider-Man Homecoming? Because that's part of that. They're making that part of the Marvel Cinematic.
I would love it if he did, but I've also heard that Endgame was the last one.
Oh dang!
So, but
that makes me so sad.
look, if they're, you know how Marvel is, they're super secretive.
Mm-hmm.
So if Stan Lee's gonna pop up in Far From Home, totally fine with me.
All right,
I'll
fine
look for
with
it.
me
I'm
too.
gonna look for it.
Fine with me too.
According to Insider.com, Stan Lee has made 60 cameos in the Marvel universe.
Yes,
60.
Stephanie, 60 cameos.
I was so for 26.
Wow, 60 cameos. Ooh, now I got to go back and find out where they were.
All of them.
I gotta. Oh, that makes me want to go back and watch. You know, as recently they had I forget.
I
cable
forgot
TV.
about all the Hulks.
All right.
I didn't count the Hulks.
No, I didn't either. CableTV.com did this contest where they challenged somebody to watch all 22 of the films in a certain. I think it was
certain period.
It was a certain period of time, like
a
100
prize,
hours
right?
or something like that, for a prize to get. I think they got $1,000 if they watched it in a certain period.
I
of
would
time.
watch it if I had time. I would do it, but I don't have the time.
Look, I started to do that, and I'm like, I don't have time to be watching no extra movies.
I
really don't.
I rewatched Infinity War before going in, and that was about it.
Yeah, I'm like, I cannot. I can't. So we ended up we got Iron Man 1, 2, the first Hulk, Captain America, Thor, Avengers, Iron Man 3, and now we got the Captain America Winter Soldier, and then Thor. Which one was this?
Dark World.
The Dark World, yes. And then all of that led to Guardians of the Galaxy.
I loved it.
Guardians of the Galaxy was my jam.
That shit was. Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
I got excited.
I know. Hey,
Guardians was
was
bananas
funny.
because
it was funny.
I knew nothing about it before going in. So, and I kept it that way because I didn't want to study too much on the source material because I didn't want to have this like one side of expectations before going in. I wanted to see what the MCU was gonna do with the comics, and then so I did it backwards.
Right.
I 100% loved it. It was all over the place. It was crazy. It was in space. I love Chris Pratt and I love Zoe Saldana. So those two together.
He's another one of my celebrity crushes. Just because he's had such a transformation physicality wise.
Yeah.
Like he started
from Parks and Rec.
Yes, he started out like this really chunky dude, and he went from chunky to hunky real quick. I'm like, well, okay.
But though he was hunky when he was chunky, he was still hunky to me, like adorable.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Okay, I could get with you on that. Adorable, I could get with. So let me see, girl. They are here for you today. Let's see. They said Yasna was like Thor Rag was too much for her. She said she liked fun Thor in the more organic way, but Ragnarok was trying too hard. And then Jenna says, did he appear in the Howard the Duck back in the day? I don't know. You know, Howard the Duck is one of the worst movies I ever saw. Girl, Jenna James, you know Howard the Duck is not happening.
I saw that once, and that was it.
It's look, I didn't want to see it the one time I saw it. Ooh, that was a bad movie. And I hardly ever,
but
ever.
they put Howard the Duck as a cameo, as a end credit for Guardians.
Oh, but he was horrible. Oh, that was a bad. That was to make people laugh and reminisce about how bad Howard the Duck was. That just goes to show you they had to put him in something else for people to remember even who the hell he was.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I appreciate it.
I was like, okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we ended up with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yes.
Which was my favorite. When we went to because when we went to the junket, they gave us that little cassette tape.
Oh.
And I was lit with all the jams.
Could you
on
play it?
I did play it because I have a cassette.
Because you still have one.
I have a cassette.
Yeah. The younger kids don't have.
I still have a cassette, and then and then they also gave us the file so you could download all the jams. So I have it in a playlist on my iPod. Girl, what? I was living my best life.
I own both soundtracks. But I will say I prefer Guardians, the first one, over the second one.
Okay.
Same thing as one of the commenters said that like she thought that Thor Ragnarok was too much for her. I was kind of along the same lines with Guardians 2. Like that really was the main complaint. Was that I felt like they were putting in jokes just to put in jokes, and I was like, no, I get it. We're funny. We don't need to try to be funny. This is fun party already. You know what I mean? So I think they went with it a little too much. Though I did laugh like crazy at the press screening when Groot threw up after they did all the jumps. And I laughed for me and Perry, 5 minutes straight.
Oh, I can see
Like,
Perry now just
could
howling.
Could
I
not
cannot.
stop laughing. I felt bad for the people next to us. I was like, I'm sorry, that was really funny.
That's pure comedy. Michael B was like, he did love the theme song from Howard, though. Yeah, that's probably the only thing that might have been good from Howard the Duck. And then, so now we're going to segue and move back up from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, back up to Avengers Age of Ultron. I love that one. That one's really good too.
Yeah.
I like all the Avenger joints. And then we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame in a minute. Then there was Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And there was all that drama over whether it was going to just be called Ant-Man or whether it was going to be called something else. And then in the last, like, 8th hour for us, they called it the Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was the first time they had put a female superhero name in the title. So I'm like, wow, did it really take this long for that to happen?
But then they didn't. They kept it. Is that what you're saying? The first one was Ant-Man, and then it was later on that they decided to do Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yeah. At first it was just going to be the Ant-Man or Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And then at some point they changed it because they decided, the powers that be decided that they were going to make Evangeline Lilly's part a little larger for
the second movie?
For the second one.
And she was
an integral part of that, so I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place. Do his on them. And then we got Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange
With
was
Benedict
so
Cumberbatch.
good.
That name kills me.
Woo.
I love Doctor Strange. That was, the special effects in that were really good. What I did not love was the fact that, and I know people talk about this all the time, that Tilda Swinton was playing somebody that was Asian, and I'm like there's no Asian actors.
I feel like a lot of people talked about it.
Like there's no Asian actors that could have played that. I mean, like, I get it, and I get, as an actor, and you're an actor as well, as actors, I get trying to do something that's going to stretch your range and stretch you artistically, but what I don't get is when you want to be another ethnicity that is not yours just for the sake of a role, when it could have gone to someone that is of that ethnicity that would have made them a star or would have given them some shine. That I don't understand. Just like, let me flip it back to Robert Downey Jr. for a split second. There was a movie, I don't remember the name of it, but there was a movie in which Robert Downey Jr. donned a blackface. You know, I can't remember the name of that movie, but you know what I'm talking about?
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, so he donned a blackface and got an Oscar nomination
Tropic
for
Thunder.
that. Tropic Thunder. And got an Oscar nomination for that. And I'm just like, did y'all see what I saw? Am I the only person that saw this and was appalled by this? Apparently not, because he got an Oscar nomination. And as I have claimed on this show already, I love me some Robert Downey Jr., but for real though, I was very, very annoyed by that. Very, very annoyed.
My thought on the Ancient one was, one, I love me some Tilda Swinton. I think she's fantastic.
I love her too. No
and everything
shade,
she does.
but
So you know, but the choice was, I agree with you, if they probably could have just kept it to the source material and cast an older Asian actor. Wouldn't you have loved to see like George Takei and something like that?
Yes, that's what I'm. George Takei would have been hilarious. Oh my god, because he's so extra.
I mean, I don't know if he would have been like that. Anyways, but you know
he's so
what
extra.
I mean.
But it would have had added a whole different element,
right?
But because I think that he is capable of doing stuff that's not extra. I think he's extra because over the decades, people have come to expect that from him. So that's why he is. But I think. And I know for a fact there was a play that he did not too long ago, and the name of that escapes me as well. That he did where he wasn't being over the top. It was a play that dealt with a historically relevant event that happened here in Los Angeles, where they were putting Asian people in concentration camps right after Pearl Harbor. And I had never heard of that before. I was like, wow, that's enlightening, but and frightening all at the same time. But he did that play. And they did it in New York City, and I believe he got a Tony nomination for it. But if he didn't get a Tony nomination, I know he got some excellent positive reviews from it. So just because I happen to know that in the back of my head is useless information, I know that he's capable of doing it. I don't know if Hollywood thought he was capable of doing it, and that's too sad.
Or maybe they just, when they were doing, I mean, we don't know what goes on.
It might have been a package deal.
It could have been. You just never know. Performance wise, I still loved her. You know, in it, I thought she was fantastic in the role, but she's like fantastic in everything she does. So
she is. Michael B said Michelle Yeoh would have killed it. Yes, she would have.
Michelle Yeoh.
That is my queen. Oh my God, I love her so much. Okay, I got to move on because I'll stay on this subject forever. And then we ended up with Civil War, which I love. Okay, so I wasn't a big fan of Captain America, but I kind of loved Captain America Civil War. That was kind of
Did
the
you like
jam.
Winter Soldier too?
Mm,
What?
mm,
Girl.
mm,
Captain America has like the most solid trilogy out of everybody. Like you can't say that with Iron Man because Iron Man 3.
Girl, look, I told you how I feel about Robert Downey Jr.
This is true. Okay.
So
I
I'm
can
just
give you
saying.
that.
I'm like Iron Man 3. I'm like, if Robert Downey Jr. is in it, I'm good. And then they bring it back around to the Black Panther, and
Woo.
baby, if we thought Avengers Endgame has shattered some records, Black Panther came for folk, and people were not ready. People were not ready for the wrath that Black Panther was going to take. Folk were going to the movies dressing in African garb.
Yeah.
More Black people came, and this is what I loved about Marvel releasing Black Panther. Up until that moment in cinematic history, Hollywood executives have been known to say time and time again that Black films don't sell well overseas, that nobody goes to see Black movies, nobody will go see a Black superhero. Black Panther changed all of that. And P.S. and FYI, but not really, when they were doing the poster for Avengers Endgame, do you know originally they left off the Black Panther characters and folk went off and they had to add
All
them
of
on?
them?
They left off. They only put 2 on there. They only
Well,
put Denai on there
Because
and
they can't spoil anything. So they have to put Okoye and Shuri. Well, no, Shuri, but Okoye because she was not dusted.
They put Black Panther on there too. I think at some
For
point.
the Endgame
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, at some point, then they took him off.
Yeah, that's a spoiler.
Yeah, they took him off because he was on there. But I was like, how you not gonna put after what the Black Panther? You not gonna put Black Panther on the poster? What the hell? Folk went off. They were not
Did
happy.
they?
Yes.
I feel like I get why. I feel like they did it from a standpoint where if they put it on the poster, that meant that he was for sure coming back. We all know he's coming back because look, Black Panther 2 is coming.
Yes,
but
Black
I think
Panther 2 is
from a
coming.
marketing, they've kept everything so secret that
Marvel does.
Yeah.
And excuse me, not for nothing, but for those of you listening that have never been to a press junket, let's just talk about the fact that excuse me, that when you go to a Marvel press junket, it is just the most challenging thing ever.
Really?
Because you can't ask first of all, the cast has never seen the movie.
And they've all been prepped to
And
not
they've all been
give
prepped
you
to not
anything.
give up any clues about the movie. The press has been prepped to not ask anything about the movies, or they'll just move on from the question.
So then what do you ask?
So you go to these. Have you ever been to one?
No.
Okay, so when you go to these Marvel,
I've gone to not like the big press conference junkets. I went to the Ant-Man one.
Okay, so when you go to those big global press conference things that they have for those Marvel films, they literally, they can't talk about the movie. Like, I'll use Avengers Endgame as a perfect example.
Okay.
For the Avengers Endgame one, there was all this big hype. There was this big A, and then the thing opened, and there were all these empty seats, and you thought, ooh, who's going to come and fill the empty seats? And then what they did was they only called out the people that were still alive to sit in the seats. So you still, at the press conference, were wondering who
That's
survived the
interesting.
snap and who didn't.
Oh my
Right?
God! Yeah, they gave you nothing.
They gave you nothing.
That's kind of fun though.
And it's fun and frustrating all at the same time.
because
It's
you have
like-
to report on it. So
you have to report it, so it's like
you're like, what do I write?
right. So it's like you got to be real creative about what you write with that situation. It says if you can't ask questions about the movie, make up games to play with them. Yeah. So when you're at a press conference, you can't play games. It's literally a global press conference. There are over 200 media outlets from all over the world. So they literally will probably allow 10 questions at the most, maybe 11. So you can't be playing no games, child. The moderator would be looking at you like you lost your mind. So no, sorry, Anstey, that's not going to happen.
Oh,
Wakanda
no.
forever. Yes, Wakanda
Yes.
forever.
Yes.
All right, so now that we have eaten up a good portion of time for y'all and talked about everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let's get right down to it and talk about Avengers Endgame. I don't know about you, Wendy, but I was up in there crying like the biggest baby you ever wanted to see. My mom was sitting with me, and I was crying so hard that my mother was like, "Are you okay?"
No, not okay.
My
The
mother
answer
was
is
like,
no.
"Are you okay? Do you need anything?" And I was like, "Oh, no." I was a hot buttered mess.
Everybody I know that came out of this movie, if they wore makeup, there were no more makeup on their face.
Girl, my fake lashes was hanging down. I had to reach in
That happened to me.
Oh,
That happened to, on the right eye because I
look,
guess I didn't.
They
put
were.
enough
I
glue.
looked like I had spiders crawling up my eyelids. I had to go in the bathroom and pull some glue, and then I pulled the glue out to try to put the lashes back on, and they
Yeah.
wouldn't stick because the lashes were
It's
wet.
so wet. Yeah.
They were drenched. I had to just take them off and throw them
Look,
away. It was horrible.
This movie accomplished so much, and it gave us 3 full hours of pure entertainment from
And
beginning
it went
to end.
fast.
And it went fast. It didn't feel like 3 hours. I've seen it twice now. So I saw it that Monday, and then last Monday, and then I saw it this past Friday with my husband. By the way, I was not successful in getting those seats. I woke up. I was like, oh, it's Avengers ticket sales day. I'm gonna get them later when I I'm a little bit more awake. Wrong choice. Yeah, I got on the AMC website had crashed. So I went to Fandango and I clicked on buy tickets and it put me in a queue and it's like you'll be in line for 10 minutes. I was like, what is this, Comic-Con? And by the time I got there,
It might as well have been because folk were like losing. Girl, if I had known you hadn't seen it, you could have just rolled with me. I would have gone and seen it twice and went back to back and sent Mama home in a ride share.
No.
But honey, I was.
It's okay. I like giving my money to the movies that I enjoy watching. I like to vote with my money.
All right, cool. But yeah, and not for nothing, but I found out this little. I can say this without ruining it for people because I do want to stand by that. Don't spoil the Endgame hashtag without telling
People
everything.
are still watching it today
Because people are still watching it today. But what I can say is that in every one of the Marvel Cinematic movies, there has been an Easter egg surprise by a member of the NBC TV show Community, right? In every one. And there's another one in this one.
I noticed one. Who did you know? Wait, can we say?
I can't say.
Okay, after.
But after. I'll tell you after.
I noticed one, and I knew there was, but I didn't see, so... we'll discuss after.
Yeah,
I don't want to give too much away.
I don't want to give too much away. But because I'm trying to stay true. I don't want Marvel coming for me and them going like, you cannot ever come to another junket as long as you live. You talk too much.
Oh, no.
So I'm not going to have that happening with
no.
me. But yeah, there are always cameos by somebody in Community. And the reasoning being is that... Joe Russo, I know for sure, was the creator of Community on NBC. So he's just trying, and he's from Cleveland. So he's just trying to give back, to some of his folk. But I thought that was kind of cool that he did that. I'm like, okay, keeping it all in the family.
Yeah.
All right, that'll work. That'll work.
I also enjoy some of the other cameos, and I won't say which one, but I will say one of the filmmakers was also in the movie, and I enjoyed that so much. I read a little article that I think it was Deadline that put it out there, and I enjoy that read, and I enjoy that they did it very much.
Because I'm like, who knew he could act like that? I was like, oh, right?
Supposedly he was in another. I think he may have been in. Oh, was it Captain America, Winter Soldier? I think he made a cameo then too. I can't remember which one. Somebody told me, but it was a long time ago.
But what I will say about what I liked about it is that it did not feel like it was a 3-hour-long movie. It had me in from beginning to end. I never felt like there was a slow moment. I never felt like there was a moment where I was completely taken out of the film where I was like, ooh, can they get on with the next part? And that battle scene, as long as that daggone battle scene was, it was epic and it was so good.
It's so good and you just don't know where to look because there's so much happening and this is why I will go back 2-3 more times to see it again and again because
absolutely.
Once you've seen it once and you kind of go back in the second time, you kind of feel like you can be a little bit more relaxed. You can go take a bathroom break if you need to. I still didn't. I could have. I never took.
Look, I was not trying to take no bathroom break. And I remember watching. I think it was Robert Downey, Scarlett, Paul Rudd, and I can't remember who and Chris Hemsworth were on Jimmy Kimmel, and he asked where the bathroom breaks were, and Scarlett.
Good question.
And Scarlett said, yeah, well, Mark Ruffalo at one of the junkets we did suggested people just wear a diaper. I'm like, yeah, I'm really not trying to sit in my own urine to watch a superhero movie.
No, that's a pass for me, but you can just choose to not, to minimize your liquid
liquids
intake,
before you go.
Or it's all up here. Unless you have like a condition, it's here.
Or you can go, I think I think it's AMC. When you go to see an AMC movie, they will tell you where the bathroom breaks are. So you can
in the app, I think.
Yeah, if you go to the AMC app and you go to see Avengers Endgame or make your reservation via the AMC app, they specifically tell you, okay, you can go to the bathroom here, 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 and here.
So helpful.
It really kind of is.
So helpful because for on Monday night when we saw it, nobody had seen it. I didn't have anybody to ask when I needed to go to the bathroom, so I purposely stopped. I knew we were leaving the office at like around 3:30 to go, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop drinking water or liquids at 2, and I did. And then afterwards, I like cracked open a bottle of water, and I was like, rehydrate.
Yeah. It was, and I'll tell you this: they had I got invited to this thing where they showed what they said was the first 17 minutes of the film.
Ooh.
Like 3 weeks before the film was released.
Yeah.
And and when I saw the film, they literally took 17 minutes from like the first half of the movie and cut it together. It wasn't the first 17 minutes. It was different.
So you thought so until you saw the movie.
You thought that until I saw the film, and I was like, oh, okay. They kind of cut this together. It was kind of cute.
I have a question for you then. Then when you saw that first cut, what you thought was the first 17 minutes, did you look at it and go, this looks discombobulated because it was cut?
No.
Or you look like you're convinced that was the first 17 minutes?
I was convinced that was the first 17 minutes
until
I saw the film. And I was like, and then I saw the film like, oh, see, y'all got jokes. But when they showed the first 17 minutes, the one line I walked away with that is my favorite line in a movie ever, where Don Cheadle says, listen, new girl, all of us here are about that superhero life. I laughed out loud.
Yes.
That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of things that made me laugh. Like, Mark, I almost feel
it has very well-placed humors. And I enjoy that.
But it has to. With a superhero movie, don't you feel like it has to have some humor infused, or else it just gets a little too heavy-handed?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Yes, they should have them. They should. But like, for example, I'm going to use Batman example. Okay, he's a more not dramatic, but for lack of a better word, dramatic, more serious tone character. I don't need to see Batman cracking jokes left and right. But if he's in an ensemble movie with The Flash or, like Justice League, then they can have jokes as long as Batman's not the one saying, he's not like, Mr. Comedian. So it depends on the movie for me. It depends on the movie. But Avengers, like, it's been a thing in every movie. So if they all of a sudden took all the humor out, it would feel very out of place.
Yes, and another part that I like that this not spoiling it for anybody because it's in all the commercials is that I saw Brie Larson do an interview again on Jimmy Kimmel. I love Jimmy Kimmel. I watch him all the time. He had Brie Larson on there when Captain Marvel was coming out. Oh, we forgot to talk about Captain Marvel.
We can circle back.
But we do it here. So when Captain Marvel came out, they showed that clip of her standing there and that tomahawk or hammer comes flying past her head. I would love to know how they did that without it smacking her upside the head. That's what I want to know. Like, how many times did they have to do that bad boy before it like literally grazed her head and had that
magic.
wind? Yeah, that was fascinating to me. But she did this whole thing where he was like, so how was it playing Captain Marvel? And she was like, there's a lot of standing around very stiffly and doing this thing. And then she did this whole thing to break down how she was doing the stare down.
Yeah.
And the different types of stare downs that she does. And it made me laugh out loud. I was like, this is pure comedy. But whenever I see that clip of that tomahawk or hammer going past her head, she does that look because she turns around. And he goes, I like this one. And she's standing there and she's got that look on her face like, now that I know what she had to do that and make it serious, I wonder how many times they shot that where she just literally just busted out laughing.
Yeah. The whole cast, like, they have such good chemistry. And Brie Larson, because we met her at the LAFCS Awards, she's funny.
She's hilarious.
She's really, really funny. So, yeah, I can see, you're trying to stare down Thor and you're trying to, be Captain Marvel, be Carol Danvers, and it's just like, take one, and she's trying to, cracking jokes. I'm sure Chris Hemsworth cracked a couple of jokes there too. So, but to be a fly on the wall for that set.
She's hilarious. I actually didn't meet her, but I had my first encounter with her. I was in the press room at the Oscars the year she won.
Room?
In the press room, and I was up for room, and I was like, put my hand up. My hand had been up for like 5,000 years. I literally started standing on a chair because I'm like, are they ever going to pick me? Like, do they not see me because I'm short? What's happening?
Aww.
So finally, they called on me, and she was looking for me. I was like, hey, back here on your right. And I had on this purple beaded gown, and my hair was all braided and wrapped up on top of my head. And she was like, hey, Vision in Purple, let's talk about this dress. I'm like, okay, yeah, girl. But let me ask this question.
Quick, before they cut me off.
Right, I was like nervous because they time the question, right? From the minute you open your mouth, they start timing it. And the rest of the press was looking at me like, you better not have no, like they were looking at me like they were all going to descend up on my chair and drop kick me.
Yeah, but you weren't being called on, so maybe take that time.
I was afraid though. But I had that moment with her. And if any of you want to see it, it is on YouTube, so you can check it out.
I'm going to look for it.
You won't see me, but you will hear my big old mouth asking that question and laughing, going, yeah, okay, girl. And you'll hear me nervously going, but let's talk about that later. Let me ask you this question. And then the question that I asked her, the answer that she gave, I think it was People Magazine, took that quote and used it in their article.
Ooh, you made it. Yeah.
But they didn't say I was the one that asked the question. They made it look like they asked the question.
No.
Yeah, they did. Shady boots.
Ooh, out of context.
Shady boots, as they would say on Pose.
No.
But there you have it.
But did you like Captain Marvel when you saw it?
I loved me. First of all, like I said, I was digging the fact that it was a girl in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this one centered around a girl, and her best friend was badass.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, her best friend, who was played by Lashana Lynch, is now going to be in Bond
Girl.
25.
She's a Bond girl. There's 2 Bond girls this time.
But
Yes.
Lashana is one. Now let's just talk about the fact that Captain Marvel was her first movie.
Can you believe it?
Wait, let's just talk about this. Let's just talk about the fact that her first movie was freaking Captain Marvel, and her second movie is Bond 25. I'm like, I just have to take a sip on that one. I cannot.
So happy for her. This is people work for years in Hollywood to try to get to that. But when you're good, though. That's the thing.
And she fought for that part in Captain Marvel.
Did she?
Yes, she did. She said she sent the letter and begged to be seen for that part.
Wow.
And it paid off for her. She ended up getting cast because they hadn't cast the part. That's always the best part when you hear about something that hasn't been cast yet and you know that there's an opportunity that they're actually looking for an unknown to do it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they cast her. She did really well.
I can't believe she was unknown until now.
She was.
Until now.
She was totally unknown until now. And now she's in Jamaica filming a Bond movie. I'm like,
she's so good.
go
I wish we
life.
had more of her in that movie because I so love seeing that friendship between her and Carol that I wanted more.
I think they may do another Captain Marvel at some point.
Please.
And when they do, they'll probably, I can't imagine that they wouldn't delve into that relationship a little more, because all we got in Captain Marvel was bits and pieces of flashbacks.
Exactly.
So maybe, if they do another
I'm
one.
ready. Sign me up.
I'm all for I
will buy my tickets today.
I am all for that superhero life with them expounding upon Lashana Lynch. That's all I know, because I loved the fact that it was a sister and she looked like a sister. She didn't look like a Barbie doll.
Right.
She looked like a real sister.
Well, they're in the military, so they don't don't give them like low cut shirts and whatever.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like, they don't need that.
Sometimes they do that. But
they used to do. I think they're starting to go away from it.
But
a little
I love
bit more.
the fact, that they had her looking like, a real person that you would see.
Yeah.
I was there for all of it. Let's check in with the chat room and see what they're saying. The Russos are behind Sci-Fi's Deadly Class 2,
Yes,
which is awesome. If any of you guys are wondering on their
starring
other
Benedict
projects.
Wong, who plays
Jenna.
Wong. Yep.
I love that. Let's see. Michael B said I had to pee so bad I could taste it, but it was worth it.
Oh no.
Ooh, that's a bad situation, Michael B. I don't know how I feel about that.
You powered through. Props to you.
And then Jenna said,
"Way to go,
Michael." Feige has no plans with the X-Men till 2023 or 24 unless they do it through the WandaVision show. Because somebody asked if Marvel was going to use Captain Marvel in the X-Men because she and Rogue have major history. So 2023, that's a long-ass time, ain't it?
Yes and no.
She's like,
Yes and no. It's because I'm ready for it. I've been waiting for all of the Marvel characters to come together, and now after the Fox and Disney merger, it's
about to go down. It's about
possible.
to go down.
I am ready. So
Okay.
I'm so ready for all of it.
I'm ready for all. I'm right there with you. So in closing out, what would you say? What is your favorite moment that you could share without spoiling it for the folks?
Let me think about that. That I can share with the folks.
While you're pondering, I'll share my favorite moment. My favorite moment of Avengers Endgame was when anytime Brie Larson showed up Because it was just, she would show up and it would just be like a flash of light. I'm like, can I just see her as a human being for once?
Yeah, she's all the power, man. She's like, she's on fire.
But she was like, y'all can't do this without me. And sure as hell, they couldn't.
She's so strong. Look, I can't, everything I like is a spoiler. So here's what I'll say.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed the entire arc of Nebula.
Yes.
Because
okay,
when we
I enjoyed
saw
that too.
yeah, because when we saw her in Guardians, she was angry and she played that like you're kind of like, okay, like she's, to me she felt one tone then. And then we got her in Guardians 2 and I was like, "Oh god, I really really like her." You know, and how far she's come in all these movies to Endgame. You got to watch out for her. She is probably one of my favorite parts in the movie, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I agree.
And Karen Gillan's like delivery is
She's wonderful. Let me see. Oh, they talking about some other stuff. They talking about Deadpool now. They're over us. But oh my God, this went so fast. I can't believe how fast this went.
I know. It's because we're talking about something fun.
I know. Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I cannot believe how much money it's made. I can't
1.2
believe
billion,
oh my
baby.
Gosh.
1.2 billion.
I remember when I hear people predicting that it was going to go over 300 million. I was like, yeah, that's possible.
No, I
Crushed
knew.
it.
I knew it was going to be in the billions. I knew.
Crushed
I
it.
knew it was going to be in the billions because it's like you said, the sites were crashing and all that madness. I knew it was going to be out of control.
Yeah.
So, Miss Wendy Lee, Szany,
Yeah.
girl, thank you for coming by the Curvy Critic today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I know we've been talking about this, so I'm happy it finally happened.
Yay! Tell the folks where they can find you.
Oh, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, at Wendy Lee Szany. You can find me on YouTube at The Movie Couple and in Collider Videos.
And you can find me, your girl, Carla Renata, across all social media platforms at The Curvy Critic. And you can find me here, The Curvy Critic, every Sunday at 5 p.m. If you enjoyed this show with my girl, Wendy Lee, if you've enjoyed some of the other episodes that you've seen, please do me a favor and pop on over to YouTube. Give us some love. Comment in the comments below the video, and I will answer you back, I promise. Pop on over to iTunes and Spotify and give me some 5-star love there, too. But until then, we will be back next week with another episode 58 of The Curvy Critic, and I will be here talking about Long Shot with Scott Mance. Until then, I know, girl. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all. Bye.
On behalf of our BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to Black Hollywood Live, the world's first digital broadcast network devoted entirely to urban entertainment and pop culture. Check out our Black Hollywood Live YouTube page for even more great programming and amazing content, and be sure to subscribe and like our channel when you do. I'm your BHL host, Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom or at Black Hollywood Live. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
And do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.